Hello, and welcome to another edition of Better Minneapolis. Today I'm here with Kevin Norman, who is one of the co-founders or founder of Uptown United. So I asked him to come in today so I could learn a little bit more about it. So how are you today?
Good. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here and tell a little bit about Uptown United and what we're trying to do to help Uptown.
Great. Okay. Well, let's start with I think you moved back to Uptown. How long you've been there, where you're coming from, and maybe what motivated you to get more involved in what happens in Uptown.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Michigan. I moved to Minneapolis in 2000, shortly out of college. To work at an ad agency, Fallon McElligott, back in the day, and lived here until 2013. My wife and I moved out to Oakland, California, and we were out there for about 10 years because I'm in tech. I worked at startups in San Francisco, and we're there for about 10 years, and decided to move back. And that was kind of always the plan. Frankly, I thought that my wife was going to have to drag me kicking and screaming out of the Bay Area. But by the time we were starting to move back, I was ready to go.
And is that because, I've heard some horror stories about Oakland and just how the neighborhoods have gone downhill.
Yeah, they had a really hard time with COVID. And I would say a big part of why a lot of people moved out of the Bay Area is because of remote work. You know, when companies became more remote work friendly, and you're spending over $3,000 on a 2-bedroom apartment on a street that is sandwiched between two homeless camps, there's not as much of an incentive to stay there anymore when you can still work in your tech job and relocate somewhere else. And that was definitely part of my story. My wife's father was kind of getting up in years too, so we always had planned to move back. But I always thought I was going to be the one that was like wanting to stay. I was ready to get out of there just because the quality of life, the way that the city was handling the unhoused and the open drug use there was just too tragic. And again, like for us, just spending,
what does that mean? Too tragic? They weren't doing enough. They were doing too much. That was too aggressive. What to you is tragic?
They weren't doing enough. They seemed just pretty apathetic about people living on the streets, doing heavy narcotics. When we went on walks, we would literally have to put our little booties on our dog, that are normally used for like snow, just because the streets are so filthy. With human feces, syringes.
Yeah.
And this is like in nice areas, like where we were spending over $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment.
So you moved back to Minneapolis in the Uptown area, and when was that?
Yeah, so we moved back about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were excited. I was really excited to live in Uptown. When I had first moved to Minneapolis in 2000. And I kind of, explored the city and decided where I wanted to live. Uptown was aspirational. I didn't have enough money to live in Uptown when I was like right out of college working, at Fallon. And so it was kind of always an aspirational place and a place that I always wanted to live. So when we were making the decision to move back, I was really excited. And one of the funny, kind of funny things, I was really excited for clean streets. I was excited to take my dog for a walk, not have to worry about him getting into human feces or drug paraphernalia. And lo and behold, this is where we're at.
Right. So I have some relatives that live in Uptown. My wife has an office in Uptown. What's been your experience of it in the last 3 years? Especially as you compare it to what you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess part of that too is, how do you feel like it changed from when you left to when you came back a decade later?
Yeah. So I was under no delusions that it was going to be different when we moved back. I know that Uptown's evolved, and it kind of went through the big box phase, obviously knew that Minneapolis had a hard time with, George Floyd, with COVID, one after another. So I wasn't expecting, the Filio Chino Latino Uptown of my youth. But I have to say, I was a little surprised at how much it has deteriorated. And I would say over the last 3 years, I feel like it has gotten a little bit worse. Mm-hmm. I think it's starting to get a little bit better, but not enough to where I don't think a little bit of civic engagement is not a bad idea.
So speaking of that, I know you began a letter writing campaign to city council. Could you talk about that?
Yeah. So one day my wife got back from her walk with our dog, and she was just like, Kevin, it's worse than I've ever seen it. And I was just like, you should write a letter. And I'm like, maybe I should write a letter. Maybe I should just do it, because it's been my experience too. Just walking around, especially the 7 Points area, just absolute trashed. Completely trashed from people that are just kind of living there, unhoused. And we can definitely get to that. Like, I have a lot of compassion. I mean, I lived in the Bay Area for 10 years. Like, I'm a pretty progressive person, I would consider myself. But anyway, I decided to just do it. I wrote a letter. I made the subject of the email was boycott Hennepin, and it was kind of a little play on words that, I'm not trying to boycott Hennepin, but people are boycotting Hennepin because of the conditions. And fortunately, the letter started getting spread around. Judy Longbottom from the Uptown Association just blasted out to her Rolodex. Just started getting shared a whole lot. Started getting some responses from city council members, Scott Dibble.
And what did city council members say? What
they were more kind of commenting on some of the business owners that were chiming in. Some people were kind of trying to say some things that they're trying to do to help. Subsequently, I did a post on Nextdoor that also got a lot of attention, and ultimately, Andrea Corbin reached out to me, the president of the Uptown Association, Judy, several other people, and Andrea kind of organized a community meeting with about 10 or 15 or so of us that have been passionate about changing Uptown. And that's kind of where the Uptown United idea came out of. I was encouraged to do a letter writing campaign, and yes, that's how it started.
And how many, do you know how many emails or letters got sent as part of your campaign?
I think so far we've had probably close to a couple hundred.
Okay.
Yeah, going out to like 30, a list of about 30 different people. So I think close to over 5,000 actually.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So what is there's the letter campaign, and then you're expanding, I guess, the efforts of Uptown United.
Yep.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about that. What's the plan?
Yeah. So we started off with a letter campaign, and it was designed to be a campaign, like multiple letters. But then the occupation came. ICE came into town. I felt it was maybe a good idea to kind of hit pause. Kind of respect that there's bigger problems at hand. So we kind of went quiet for a couple months, but we're picking it back up. And honestly, I don't remember whose idea it was. Eric Inge, who runs one of the coupon books in Uptown, reached out to me, and I honestly can't remember if it was his idea or another business owner's idea to do a kind of community walks, essentially. Kind of get like groups of people that will walk around Uptown as a way to just kind of create more comfort, make Uptown a more welcoming area. And so that's where we're going now. We are starting a community ambassador program, and this will be the first tactic of these ambassadors, is to organize on the weekends and basically have groups of 10 or so people just walking around Uptown, picking up trash, just being a presence.
Now, are they going to kind of similar to what we've seen kind of so successfully used against ICE? Are they going to take photos of things they see? Because, and I think there's a article that came out in the Southwest Voices that was called Uptown in Crisis, and
Yep.
they have
Yep.
photos of what people are seeing in doorways and stuff like that. So will you be documenting anything, or is it really just to be a presence, pick up some trash, maybe get to know your neighbors a little better?
The latter. I definitely do not want this to be like an observability program because I want the ambassadors to be people that are creating a welcoming presence. You know, if they're out there like taking recordings and being reporters, I don't think that's going to be as effective, and I don't think that's going to get as many people involved in the program.
Right.
You know, there will naturally be some people that will snap photos that, you know, might call 911 if there's a crime taking place. But I really want this to be more about just making Uptown a welcoming area, have a positive presence, be in good vibes. I mean, that sounds kind of funny, but I really want it to be something where when these groups are walking around, people feel comfortable around them. And it's not about trying to shoo away the unhoused people. You know, I want the ambassadors to be known to be compassionate people. And really it's trying to make Uptown a place that's not just thriving for the drug dealers and the people that are not respectful of shared public places. It needs to be a place that works for everybody. And right now, I don't think it's working for anyone.
Right. Did you read this Southwest Voices article?
I did.
Okay. I mean, there was a couple of things in there that really struck me, and I almost thought, no, well, that can't be. That's like too much. And one of them was, well, they talk about the escalation of drug users and unhoused people, large groups loitering as being problems. But the security guard at 7 Points that they interviewed said they had evicted more than 1,200 unhoused people from a parking garage in just in January 2026. Can that be right? I mean, 1,200 people? That's like a small town.
Yeah, I heard that from the reporter actually. I'm in touch with Melody Hoffman, who was part of that article, that wrote that article.
Yeah.
And she told that to me firsthand, and I believe her. I think it's a public.
Was it 1,200 unique people, or
That's a great question.
someone camps, they get kicked out, they come back the next night, and they're getting kicked out again?
I think it's safe to say it was, if nothing else, it was directionally correct. It's been a massive increase over the last year. I think most people would not disagree with that who have spent any time in Uptown.
Okay.
Because when my wife and I go for walks, it's not uncommon to see a group of people hanging out at 7 Points. If you walk down a little bit further, there's a group of people hanging out at the Rain nightclub. And they're not just hanging out, they're doing narcotics, like they're on fentanyl. And again, like I think people can do whatever they want as long as they're not harming other people. But the fact of the matter is that there's a perception that Uptown is not safe.
Yeah.
I personally don't feel unsafe when I'm in Uptown. I lived in Oakland. I lived between two homeless camps. I don't get spooked by people that are unhoused. I don't get spooked by people that are doing drugs. But there are people that do. And it's impacting the small businesses, and that's what I care about. When these are shared public places, I feel like there does need to be some guidelines. You know, like if you want to do narcotics in your home, that's not going to keep people away from business. But if you're doing them out in public spaces in front of businesses, not everybody's comfortable around that. And that's where, again, like where we're trying to get these community walks to where, you know, it's not just going to be a place that's optimized for people that want to do, you know, heavy narcotics. It's optimized for people that want to go out to restaurants or to coffee or to entertainment. So it just needs to be a space that works for everyone. That's all we ask. And I think I'm trying to be compassionate. I think that's compassionate.
Well, the thing I like about the walks idea is that, you know, part of the issue of getting people to come back to Uptown is that they want to see other people out on the streets, right? I think when it looks like you're going to be the only one walking down the street, you don't feel comfortable, right? So it's like just seeing other people. could be really helpful.
That's exactly right, and that's when we're promoting this this new initiative. The value that you're bringing by going on these walks is just your presence. It's just being there. We're not asking you to take photos. We're not asking you to like report people. If you want to pick up trash, that's amazing. Like that is something that I hope a lot of people will do. Just kind of beautify the city, like leave it better than we found it when we started the walk. And I hope it's something that neighbors get to know each other. You know, find other like-minded people that really care about Uptown and want to see it working for everyone.
So why do you think it is that there's sort of like, I would say, resistance to accepting that there's public safety issues that make people uncomfortable? I mean, when I talk about this or write about it, in a lot of sort of social media platforms, you'll just get attacked like, oh, you're just being a fear monger, or you're like a Republican from the suburbs, and you know, crime is actually down. And you know, I went and looked at the statistics for Ward 7 and Ward 10, and in a lot of categories, crime isn't down. You know, but why do you think people are reacting that way? Why do they want to try and convince you that what you're seeing is not actually taking place?
My gut is that it's a fear of authoritarianism. It's a fear of policing. If you admit that there might be a safety problem, it's maybe giving license for more policing, more authoritarianism. And I get that. I mean, I don't think that you're going to police yourself to a better Uptown either. So I think it's kind of an overcorrection that people make, because you're afraid that if you give an inch, it's just like classic, you know, partisan politics. If you give an inch, they're going to want to take a mile. But like I said, whether Uptown is safe or not, there is a perception that it's not safe. And you can't deny that. You ask the small business owners how much commerce they've been doing this year compared to last year or years before, it's down. And that is because there is a perception that it's not safe. Whether it is safe or not, that's a perception, and that's what we're fighting.
Well, I know last year there was a lot of attention around a safety ambassador program run through the city, and they chose not to do it in Uptown. Yet, I don't know, have you heard, are they going to expand the pilots that they started?
I have not heard that either. And like, I'm trying to make Uptown United politically agnostic, because I want anybody that's focused on that same outcomes that I'm focused on to be involved. And that is an Uptown that works for everybody. It's a welcoming place to go to dinner. It's a welcoming place to get coffee. And we're trying to keep the streets, you know, syringe free, human feces free, things that 10 out of 10 people can align on. You know, the tactics on how to get there, if you have a different idea, if you have a good idea, whoever has the best idea should win. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on.
So one of the complicating factors seems to be this difference of whether people are congregating or doing drugs and it's in a public space or a private space, right? So like that parking garage that maybe people were using that's private, so the police will tell you we can't do anything about it. And then, of course, it falls to the owners to start fencing things, to have security, to move stuff. Some of the people quoted in the article were talking about having to hire security to get people off of their property. What do you think would be helpful to have those two, you know, spaces, because it's still kind of a common space, even if it's publicly or privately owned? So how do you come up with a system where both the public and the private get attention?
I mean, it's a great question. I don't know. I've heard from multiple people that this is a big part of the challenge. It's that some of the illegal activity is happening in public places, some of it's happening in private places, and you know, when I've reported some, you know, like human feces and drug syringes, I've been told that's private property. The city is not responsible for that. So it's a challenge. And and again, that's what part of why I'm excited about what Uptown United is doing with the community walks, is that if we just get enough people out there and like that are being a positive presence in Uptown, the folks that are wanting to do illegal drugs, hopefully will understand that like this is not the best place for you to do that.
Well, in a certain sense, people gathering and doing drugs is making other people uncomfortable, right? So they don't.
Yep.
So I mean, by organizing and having people there, you in a sense are now trying to make those people uncomfortable, saying this is not where we want you to do drugs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I respect I respect people's individual rights, but there is also that kind of intersection of your individual rights with somebody else's individual rights. So I mean, it's kind of the classic like.
Well, expand a little bit on, because on the website you mentioned both compassion and accountability being important to you. So what does that mean to you? What's that mix?
Yeah. And again, it's really hard to not get political, but I kind of look at it this way. If my mom was on the street, would I want her in a tent, or would I want her in a better shelter than being on the street? I would not want my mother on the street in a tent. So I think allowing people to continue to live in tents on streets, allowing them to continue to be deep in their addiction, I would not want that for my own mother. Maybe some people think that that's them living their best life. I have a hard time believing that. And so I feel the compassionate thing to do is to want that person to get the help that they should need so that they can thrive. And again, like I am by no means claiming that I'm a political expert, that I have all the best ideas for society. I'm just doing what I'm trying to do my best here. You know what I mean? And with this organization, we might not have the best ideas, but I'm doing something that I think is going to be positive. And frankly, I'm doing it in my spare time. I'm not getting paid for it. I have a full-time job. This is 100% volunteer-led. So I'm sure there will be people that think that these are not the right tactics, and that's fine. You know, if you think these aren't the right tactics and you think you have better tactics, I wish you the best, that you will do what you think is better than this.
Well, there have been, it seems like what you're doing is an extension a little bit of what I've heard other different neighborhood groups doing with the safety walks, where they have just groups of neighbors going out and walking. So, I mean, that seems like what you're trying to do. Is Uptown United, is it part of an existing group, or it's a whole new group, or?
It's a whole new group. It's I mean, and it's calling it a group is like maybe giving it even more credit than it deserves.
Okay.
It started as a letter campaign. It's evolved into community walks. Is like basically, let's just be honest what it is. I created a website, uptownunitedmpls.org. My goal is just to connect as many people that want to see Uptown doing better. And I have fortunately had a lot of people reach out to me, which has been very encouraging. It's been very inspiring seeing that there's a lot of people that feel like I do, that have hopes that Uptown's going to continue to bounce back. They have some of the same nostalgia that I have for Uptown back in the late 90s, early 2000s, how it was a really cool place to be. And I'm optimistic that we're going to get there. Like, I think that there are some positive signs. There are some positive things happening. I'm certainly not the only person that's fighting for Uptown. There's other people doing other things, but this is just one thing. And I hope that it's inspiring to other people that I'm one dude that started this.
Right.
And I'm getting a lot of help from other people, but it was like one idea that is like kind of turning into something that I really do think it's going to help Uptown.
Well, I think what people are responding to, especially with the original letter that got shared around, is that it was, in a sense, apolitical in that it wasn't viewed as being out of one particular camp, if you will. It was more, I'm a concerned local citizen and I don't know what to do about it, so I'm writing this letter, and this is what I'm seeing. So yeah, I mean, I think that was very powerful, and why a lot of people have responded to it as they have. So, what do you want to see, like in your ideal world, 5 years from now? What do you think the vision for Uptown should be? Because not everyone was thrilled with the Apple Store and the giant North Face
Yeah.
and sort of this big boxy shine that took over the area,
Yeah.
and now it seems like there isn't an official plan, if you will, for what's going to be coming back, if anything. So what would you ideally like to see?
I I don't really have super strong opinions. I think that most people in Uptown probably don't want the big box retailers if we had a preference. I would take that over abandoned buildings right now, to be
Right,
honest.
sure.
I hope it's a mixture. I mean, and I hope it's more small local businesses than the big national ones. But, let's start somewhere. Like, let's start with not vacant buildings. How about that?
Yeah.
And I hope that Uptown United is unnecessary 5 years from now, to be honest. I hope that these walks will have some longevity, but I hope that they don't need to be a thing for a really long time.
So you're having a meeting on March 19th. What's the purpose? What would you like people to know about it?
Yeah. The meeting on the 19th we're having at the new Arizona Taco at 7 Points. There's no signage for it yet, but there's a new restaurant from a restaurateur that has another location in the northern burbs. He's coming to Minneapolis. I've already had the food. It's fantastic. I think it's going to be a really great restaurant for Uptown. But yes, we're having that on. We're having a meeting on the 19th. It's at 6 p.m. And the goal is just to kind of rally around this idea, try to get a bunch of signups. We do have several local elected leaders that are going to be coming to be there and support this initiative. I actually just spoke with Marion Green yesterday.
Okay.
She's supporting it.
Great.
Had Metro Transit is coming out. They're supporting it. MPD. I think at least a couple city council people will be there. But what I'm really excited about, this is 100% volunteer led, and we're getting great support from some of the elected officials, from some of the neighborhood organizations like Uptown Association. But again, like I'm really trying to cast a big net here and just be really outcome focused. I have my political opinions. I don't want them to really be a heavy influence in what we're doing, other than I care about the unsheltered people. I care about the people that are struggling with addiction. I care about the people that want to go out to eat in Uptown. I care about the people that want to walk their dogs around the area and feel safe. It just needs to be a space that works for everybody. And so therefore, if you're down for that, if you align with those ideas, you should get involved. And not just people to walk, but people to kind of support the program too. I'm a one guy show right now with trying to organize this. I mean, I guess I do have a few other people helping me out, but like, I can't do it all. I think for this to be a successful thing, we need people that are walking, that are helping to organize the nights, that are leading the groups on the weekend. So on the 19th, I'm also going to make that really clear that if you want to be involved, and even if you can't walk for any reason, there will be a place for you to get involved and support this.
So right now, you mentioned that you have a website. Can people sign up through that if they can't make the event, or do
That
they
is
email
correct.
you directly, or what's the best?
Yep, great question. I appreciate that question. Yes, if you go to uptownunitedmpls.org, there is a button to sign up to get involved. And yes, if you can't make it on the 19th, you just go to the website, click on that button. It will automatically send an email to me. That's also where you can join in the letter campaign as well if you feel called to do that. Yes, so the meeting is going to be on the 19th, and I think we're going to aim to have our first walk the week after, so like March 26th.
Okay.
And hopefully we get a lot of people, because the goal is I hope that you can volunteer once or twice a month, and then we'll have this going on Friday nights and Saturday nights.
Great. And there's a couple of new things just to mention that are happening in Uptown. There's that new jazz club. I don't know if it's open exactly yet.
I don't
but
think it is yet, but
yeah, they're up
Yeah.
by the the bakery with the world famous now cinnamon rolls.
Yes,
If you can get
Isles
in
Buns
there.
and Coffee.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
And there's, some different coffee shops and stuff have opened. So, it's great. I hope to see some momentum. And then
Mm-hmm.
also they've established now sort of, I don't know what they're calling it's not really a police station, but sort of
Yes.
a hub, if you
Yeah, I
will.
forget what they're calling it.
A coordinated
Mm-hmm.
hub for safety personnel that's
Mhm.
in the Rainbow Building that has both, I think, security people from different agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I have heard that. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I think it is to, again, try to have a stronger presence there, and kind of curb some of the illegal activity that's happening. Which I'm for that. I mean, we do have laws. There are some drugs that probably aren't as safe for people to be high on the streets. But yeah, I'm seeing some other positive signs, like several new businesses that I've really been enjoying is Lido's Burritos, new Chiba Hut, Muno Muno. These are like 3 new businesses that I think are going to be in Uptown for a long time, and I think that we're going to continue to see more of that.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the meeting is well intended. I plan to be there on the 19th.
Awesome.
Anything else that you'd like to bring up before we close out here?
No. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this. I really am excited. I think it's going to have a really good turnout on the 19th, and I think this is going to be a really positive thing. I think it's going to be fun, to be honest. I'm looking forward to meeting more of my neighbors. I really envision that these Friday night and Saturday night walks are going to be fun, and a lot of people are going to want to be involved because they're going to get to meet like-minded neighbors. And I think it's going to be a fun time. I really do.
Will people stop in at restaurants and say hello, or
I think that's
they're
the
just
idea.
going to walk in circles around the
Yeah,
neighborhood?
I have a feeling that we're probably going to start the walks meeting at Arizona Taco, maybe down in a few tacos, ending your shift at Arizona Taco, maybe eating a couple tacos, couple drinks, and then so I'm envisioning like 2 shifts, like kind of like an early shift and a night shift, and the 2 shifts meet together and share tacos and drinks.
Yeah, that sounds
So I think
fun.
it's going to be something that people actually look forward to.
Right.
It's not going to feel like work.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Terry. Appreciate it.